Yashodhana Anabhadvajanararanjana
Yashodhana
Yam Nachim
Yamunatira Janata
Yamunatira Avunacha
Yamunatira Janata
Jayor Dam Dhamava Punjabi Hava
Jayorata Anahami Punjabi
Jayoram Dam Punjabi
Jayorata Anahami
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradam
Vidanta Masal
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradam Anachari Krishna Krishna Krishna
Krishna Hare Rama Rama
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, to Premanand Hariyanyo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter, can someone? 7? Chapter 7, text number 37. Thank you. So we're gonna read actually text 37 and 38, because 37 does not have a purport. So I would just read the Sanskrit myself. Text 37. Tathapina pratibruyam gurubhir prarthitam kiyat bhavatam praritam sarvam pranay artheshcha sadhaya. Translation. All of you, my superiors. All of you are my superiors. Therefore, although accepting priesthood is sometimes reproachable, I cannot refuse even a small request from you. I agree to be your priest. I shall fulfill your request by dedicating my life and possessions. Text 38. Sribhadaranair uvacha tebya evam pratishrutya vishvarupo mahatapa paurahityam ritaschakre paramana samadhina. Sribhadaranair uvacha tebya evam pratishrutya vishvarupo mahatapa paurahityam ritaschakre paramana samadhina. Sribhadaranair uvacha tebya evam pratishrutya vishvarupo mahatapa paurahityam vritraschakre paramana samadhina. Word for word. Sribhadaranair uvacha. Shri Shukadeva Goswami said, Tebya, unto them the demigods, evam, thus, pratishrutya, promising, Vishvarupaha, Vishvarupa, Mahatapa, the most exalted personality, Paurahityam, the priesthood, Vritaha, surrounded by them, Chakra, executed, Paramena, supreme, Samadhina, with attention. Translation. Sri Shukadeva Goswami continued, O king, after making this promise to the demigods, the exalted Vishvarupa, surrounded by the demigods, performed the necessary priestly activities with great enthusiasm and attention. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The word samadhina is very important. Samadhi means complete absorption with an undiverted mind. Vishvarupa, who was a most learned Brahmana, not only accepted the request of the demigods, but took their request seriously and performed the activities of priesthood with an undiverted mind. In other words, he accepted the priesthood not for material gain, but to profit the demigods. Such is the duty of a priest. The word Puraha means family and Hita means benefit. Thus, the word Purohita indicates that the priest is the well-wisher of the family. Another meaning of the word Puraha is first. The priest's first duty is to see that his disciples benefit spiritually and materially by all means. Then he is satisfied. A priest should never be interested in performing Vedic rituals for his personal benefit. Once again, Shivadharanair Uvacha Tebya Evam Pratishrutya Vishvarupo Mahatapa Paurahityam Vritaschakra Paramena Samadhina. Sri Shukadeva Goswami continued, O king, after making this promise to the demigods, the exalted Vishvarupa, surrounded by the demigods, performed the necessary priestly activities with great enthusiasm and attention. Hare Krishna. Thank you, all assembled devotees. My husband is just here alone in the temple, but I see a lot of devotees have joined us also. I really appreciate you, and I just humbly seek your blessings to be able to say something of value today for my own spiritual benefit and for your inspiration. When I first read this verse, something that I reflected upon is that Vishvarupa was initially not very enthusiastic to pick up this service, this request of the demigods to perform duties of their priest. Because as we read from the previous verses, accepting duty of a priest comes with some dangers or challenges. And Vishvarupa, he wanted to maintain his status quo. He didn't want it to be, well, kind of, I want to use the word bought in. And but because he had a great respect for the demigods, he decided to accept this service. And in those verses that we have read today, what was very interesting for me is that he accepted the duties with great enthusiasm and attention. So I was reflecting on my own approach to devotional service and was trying to not compare but analyze what is my approach when I am requested to perform something that maybe I don't like, or maybe something that is hard and challenging, maybe something that would mean for me to cross over some limitations that I have. Maybe that would not be very pleasing to me personally. What is my reaction? How do I react when I am offered with such an opportunity? And certainly, and unfortunately, I wish I could say that I am always accepting the service with great enthusiasm and attention, but sometimes it's not the case. So this is something extremely inspiring for me to see the example of such a great personality as was Vishvarupa, that he was able to accept, assume, not even assume, because that was his natural quality, but maintain this humble state of mind and accept the request of something that he personally would not choose to do if he had a choice. But he accepted this, but not only accepted, but gave his, we can say like his whole heart to it and perform those duties with great enthusiasm and attention. This is opportunity for us to also reflect when we find ourselves in similar situation, because it also gives us opportunity to remember how precious devotional service is. So devotional service for Krishna is not something that we can find at every nook and corner. It's not something that actually we can even earn or pay or bribe for. It comes from Krishna. It's Krishna's pure mercy when we are blessed with opportunity to perform devotional service. It's extremely rare. There are millions and billions of people on this earth planet. And when you are those who are fortunate to be sheltered at Gita Nagari, this holy abode, everybody is engaged in devotional service here. But in our case, when we live in a city, you can see that most people, they're not engaged in devotional service. They're just very busy from morning to night with different things that don't really bring them closer to the ultimate goal of life. But we have an amazing opportunity to engage in direct service to the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna, Shri Radha Damodar. So what that would mean for us to show with the same attitude, just as Vishvarupa showed in this example. Perform the necessary priestly activities with great enthusiasm and attention. Do we always show up 100% for Krishna? What does it mean even to show up 100% in devotional service? Do we show up physically? Do we show up emotionally? Do we show up with our heart? What does it mean to fully dedicate ourselves to the service that we have been given? Of course, it's easy to do it when there's something we like, and we have certain natural predisposition, natural talents, natural inclinations, natural liking. Some things bring us more joy, and something bring us little less joy. But regardless of those, how do we show up when it comes to serving Krishna? Do we drag, like if there is like a service that we are not really I don't know, want to use a new, not in favor, but something that maybe doesn't really align with our personality, with our natural inclinations. How do we perform the service? Are we fully present? Are we giving Krishna 100%? Because the time is this factor that we cannot get back, regardless how much money we would offer for it, how much diamonds. The time is gone and it's ticking. I know my Guru Maharaj, sometimes he would tell that when he was visiting his grandparents, there was this grandfather clock and it would just do it. And I'm laughing because my husband is very sensitive. Even there's like the quietest clock, but it makes the sound like he cannot sleep. It's just so disturbing. And right now, most clocks, they don't have this ticking sound. We are in electronic age, so everything is like digital, whatever, and you don't hear the sound. The sound is there. It's right there behind you. It's all the time, and it's ticking, ticking, ticking. So if we have been given something, some opportunity to serve Krishna, why not give it 100%? Why not be there like fully present with our physical body, with our mental body, and also with our heart? Because we're gonna use this time anyway. Like I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna use this time anyway. This service is gonna take so much, that particular amount of time. So now it's from me, depends how it will be performed. There's this business saying that your attitude determines your altitude. So, in other words, the more we are enthusiastic and dedicated to this particular service at the moment, and we try to deliver this with excellence, the higher would be the purification and Krishna's mercy. So, I just want to remind myself, first of all, and if it applies to any of you, if you can relate to it, then please also take some value out of this. But let's all strive together to give everything when we have been blessed and honored to do some devotional service. We are not here to do a perfect service. Krishna is perfect. He's the only one that is perfect. We are not, and we are not striving for perfection, but we can do it excellent service. And excellent means that we do 100%. We give ourselves 100% for our time, energy, and everything what we have at the moment when we perform a particular devotional service. Because we also know that Krishna is not looking really what we give, but what we hold behind, trying to hide. So I notice that whenever I find myself not fully offering everything what I have at the moment, then it feels like a waste of time, because there's this feeling in the heart of guilt, but also lack of satisfaction, because Krishna will never give us full satisfaction when we hold things back. When we hold things back. So, perfection, which I'm now talking to myself a lot because I really struggle for a long time and I still have those tendencies to try to make things perfect, like focus on every detail. But perfection is egocentric. Perfectionism, we want to show up perfectly. We want to make sure that what we do would be noticed and appreciated and acknowledged, and we get all the rewards for it. That means perfection. But excellence is service center. Excellence means we do it for others, to please Krishna, to please devotees. And here we can see from this example of Vishvarupa that he mentioned that I cannot refuse even a small request from you. I agree to be your priest. I shall fulfill your request by dedicating my life and possessions. So he is approaching this request with excellent attitude. He's doing this for the sake of demigods, not for his own benefit. And in purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that yes, the Vishvarupa, being the most learned Brahmana, he took the request of the demigods very seriously. And in other words, he accepted the priesthood not for material gain, but to profit the demigods. That is the duty of a priest. And also, this is a duty of us, Krishna's devotees, aspiring devotees, that when we are blessed with devotional service, we performing the service not for our material gain, not for our material recognition, not to show off our skills and talents, but we are doing this to please Krishna and please Krishna's devotees. And of course, Krishna is so kind that he has structured devotional service, process of bhakti in such a beautiful way that when we do this, we do actually gain a lot. We gain the treasures that cannot compare to anything that we can find in this material world. We are, as Dhruva Prabhu said on the class the other day, we were not present here, but he shared with us that we are working on turning our heart into yummy butter that Krishna would not be able to resist but just to steal it. So by doing this, we have this opportunity with every time we are granted devotional service. Um, and at the end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada also mentioned that a priest's first duty is to see that his disciples benefit spiritually and materially by all means, and then he is satisfied. So in those verses, we talk about Vishvarupa, we talk about a priest, but it's very similar to when we can put in the same we can refer to like spiritual master and disciple relationship, or even Krishna and Krishna's devotees, that our duty, our attitude should be to please Krishna and his devotees, but then seeing us being happy in cultivating our constitutional position of being servant of Krishna, servant of devotees, that also pleases and make happy spiritual master and Krishna himself. So Vaishnava culture is extremely beautiful. Like there's no way we cannot benefit. It doesn't matter what piece we grab on and what we are performing. There's always eternal benefit for everyone involved. Therefore, the more we give ourselves to different opportunities that we have been blessed with, the more benefit for everyone. The more benefit for everyone. So, do you have anything you would like to add?
No, I'm speechless.
No, say. I know it's kind of a short class, those verses.
Ask a question.
Yes, maybe there are some questions, and maybe I can also share some more, but I will like check with devotees. Maybe you have some questions. If so, just feel free to unmute yourself and just ask.
How actually, what is the source of his enthusiasm? How he could accept something what he even on the intelligent level he saw that for him it's not so good. Like now he explained why it's not so brilliant idea for him. But then, what is the source of his enthusiasm? How he could do that? Thank you. I'm there listening the answer.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So I repeat the question. So Lila Madhurya asked, how was it possible for Vishvarupa to, like, to perform of priesthood with so much enthusiasm, despite seeing and even mentioning that it's not such a great idea from his point of view, yet he was able to approach it with so much enthusiasm. So she's asking, what is the source of that enthusiasm? Wow, that's a very good question, and I almost feel like I want to ask also for feedback. Like, what do you think, dear devotees? Like, what was the source of enthusiasm for Vishvarupa? I want to open this for a little discussion. I have some thoughts I would like to share later, but I would love to hear from any of you. Like, what do you think? What was the source of this enthusiasm? Everybody's thinking. Do you want to share something? Do you have some thoughts? We don't have any volunteers to share so far.
If nobody is willing to share, so then feel obligation and accepting this as a duty. I will share my before share
With enthusiasm.
with enthusiasm, of course. I'm trying my best. It happened that I read a little bit details before this text some time ago, and I noticed that Srila Prabhupada emphasized the point that Vishvarupa was very learned Brahman. So he has excellent knowledge, Vedic wisdom. So as we hear many times, knowledge is key to success. So if we lead our life with knowledge, so then we know what is what. And if we know what is what, like you beautifully explain in your class, uh, with this very sophisticated analysis and you elaborate on the point how we should approach devotional service. So your presentation, based on knowledge. You didn't come with this presentation by your own speculation or interpretation, just how you feel, sentimental way, but rather based on authorized bona fide knowledge. So therefore, we understand that knowledge is extremely important. The more we know details, the more we are able to conduct ourselves proper way. So my personal understanding of Vishvarupa's source of his enthusiasm was based on knowledge, understanding how important it is to perform duties uh, 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 and how to approach like seniors or authorities and and accept their request in humble way. Because Vishvarupa, he admitted before, few texts before, that the demigods were much older than him. So he was younger. And he was he felt a little bit embarrassed that he is requested by seniors to perform such leading role as a priest. So, but considering them as the seniors, superiors, so he felt obliged that how I can refuse a request. You are demigods. You are the highest authorities of this universe. I feel obliged to perform anything you request. So this humility, this respectful attitude, and this enthusiasm to perform anything being requested by superiors indicates that he is very knowledgeable, wise person. This is my understanding.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. Um, excuse, sorry for that. Beautiful elaboration and answer to this question. As you were sharing, I also was thinking about an example that when any of you who had an experience from working in the material world, having a job, which I have, when we show up to our place of work, regardless how we feel, if we slept at night, if maybe we are under the weather, or maybe we are having some emotional troubles, when we show up at the workplace, we are putting a face, we're putting a smile on a face, we are showing up enthusiastically and performing the duty to the best of our capacity. Why is that? Because we have something to gain, which is the paycheck. We have material gain, and therefore, regardless how we may feel right before showing up to work, as soon as we are there, our attitude needs to change. Because if not, then we may not maintain this job for too long, and we will be in trouble. So here it's it's material gain, but also knowledge, because at every work there's certain etiquette, and they are expecting you that you will perform in a certain way, otherwise you are out of there. So, like my husband shared that, yes, in case of Vishvarupa, he was very learned Brahmana, so he knew what would be his gain, not material gain, but his spiritual gain. And when we have the knowledge, understanding what actually devotional service is, that this is the the biggest blessing, the biggest gift that we can get in this human form of life. It's this privilege to perform devotional service. And if we know this, if we have this knowledge, just like Vishvarupa, he had knowledge what not only due to, like my husband explained, that it was just his duty to his superior to perform this action. Similarly, in our case, I just want to bring it back because I feel it's such an important point, and I'm mainly talking to myself as a reminder, because as we chanting every day and associating with the devotees and doing devotional service, is very easily to lose this vision of what we are having at our hands. And we may get very familiar and approach devotional service with a lousy attitude. Oh, I'm just doing these things, I've been asked again, okay, I will do this, but I will just do this with a minimal effort, so I don't get in trouble, and I'm just done, and then go and do my own stuff. It's very easy to get into that mind attitude, which is very, very unhealthy. So I'm mainly talking to myself to remind myself that it is extreme blessing, and it's not that I may have access to it all the time. If the attitude is not proper, if I take it for granted, if I don't appreciate this opportunity, then Krishna may take it away. Krishna may take it away, and there's nothing more horrible to be devoid of devotional service, because devotional service give us true life, give us juice, give us fulfillment of all our needs and all our desires and aspirations. So I feel that this enthusiasm that we can also create, this enthusiastic attitude, comes from understanding, from knowledge. And sometimes we need to remind ourselves as well. Just like we may have this habit, we wake up, we take shower, brush our teeth, take shower, and then we grab our japa bead and we start chanting. But we may be chanting, just repeating some words because we get so familiar that this is the practice I do every single day. And I'm just chanting those mantras. So it's important to pause. I feel that it's so important to pause before we chant, before we come to the temple, before we start devotional service, to just pause even for a second and just have this moment of introspection. What I am about to perform, that this is not ordinary duties, this is not ordinary words I'm going to be pronouncing. And create an intention. What will be my intention today when I do the service? I'm committed to do the service with the excellence. I'm going to give 100%. And 100% could be different days because we may feel different. We may have different physical capacity. So one day it could be, we might be stronger, but another way, we may be feeling weaker. But 100% would means 100% for this day, for this moment. And when I come, when I take my japa beads, I'm committed to chant with attention, to chant with affection. I'm committed to bring my mind back when it will be driving me crazy. So I find it personally so helpful to like pause. Okay, I am blessed right now. I'm not having ordered to do the service. It's not a curse. I have been blessed with this opportunity to perform a direct service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Direct service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I mean, this is far out. This is far out. Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord who creates all the universes and all the planets and all the living entities, who is the Supreme Controller, Supreme Father. We have opportunity to perform direct service to Him. So if we have this knowledge, how we cannot have enthusiasm? How we cannot approach this service enthusiastically? If only way where we lose the enthusiasm is then when we forget what we actually doing, what we performing. Then we just come down to material consciousness. Okay, this is just like some things we do around, like other people do. Sometimes we give this example that Srila Prabhupada would give this example too, that when you look externally, often devotees, they look just the same, like ordinary people, they like even on a farm here right now, we had Gita Nagari, what a blessing, by the way. But yeah, we see devotees, doing farm work, cooking the kitchen, washing dishes, cleaning, and so on. That's what people do too, in their own household, and their own homes with their own families. So what makes devotees different? And we often say the consciousness. But are we always really in that consciousness that would make us different? So this is a reminder for myself to make sure that I am in that different consciousness when I do devotional service, when I chant, when I associate with the devotees. And association is also important because sometimes we may not on our own have maybe strength or just be forgetful and not be able to remind ourselves, okay, this is what I'm doing. But devotees will remind us. Devotees are so special. So when we are in association of devotees, then immediately we are reminded about those amazing opportunities that we have when it comes to devotional service and chanting and association and serving Krishna and just the list go on. But I also feel that it's yesterday I was also talking at Vaishnavi Sangha about mind and also a little bit about creating the habits. So sometimes it's helpful when we have habits, some habits that maybe the beginning is a little harder to create, but once we establish them, they will become like a second nature. So when I mentioned about this little, even if it is a second of pause before we attempt any devotional activities, like let's say praying before we chant, like make the habit that, okay, before I chant, before I grab my japa beads, I pray. I pray to Krishna, I beg Krishna to give me opportunity to chant with attention, to chant with affection, to pronounce clearly every single name. Then the quality of our service will be better. And if we make a habit, and we can even create, make little triggers that will remind us that, okay, this is what I need to do before I start chanting, then it would be much easier for us to avoid falling into material consciousness. Yeah, so that's little few words about creating this enthusiasm in our devotional service. I know there's so many exalted Vaishnavas on the Zoom. Really humbling to be speaking in front of you. Would you please be able to share a few words of your wisdom? Because it's invaluable. I would love to hear from some of you. There's, Taraka Prabhu and Lila Kishori, Jamal Prabhu, James, Dana, Jiva Pandit Prabhu, and Yashoda Prabhu. Please kindly bless me too with your knowledge and with your wisdom and realizations on this topic. Okay, I guess I'm not deserving.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
I want
Krishna.
to thank you for a very nice class.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful to get an opportunity to hear from you and your husband. I've heard from your husband so far only twice. After the first time, I was very enthused to hear again. Both of you make wonderful contributions. It's very nice to have the benefit of um, you're speaking for us in our Bhagavatam classes here. So I'm feeling very grateful. I appreciate your comments about enthusiasm and establishing intent when setting about chanting our rounds, because as you say, it can become routine and as a result, inattentive, which is actually offensive. It can minimize the benefit of our chanting. So, to be very conscious of what we're doing and why is important if we want to derive the greatest benefit. And yes, as you say, having the opportunity to hear and chant the Lord's holy names, to render devotional service in all different kinds of ways, even direct devotional service to Krishna. There is service rendered indirectly through the Guru Parampara, but hearing and chanting the holy names is actually direct service. What a wonderful thing, if we think about it. And the process of progressing in Krishna consciousness is largely, in part, cultivating this awareness to be very conscious of Krishna, to understand our relationship with him, how we are interacting with him at every moment, how we are dependent upon him for everything at every moment. So that in all different sorts of ways, in different capacities, we have relationships with Krishna. And by our practice of devotional service, gradually Krishna reveals himself to us, and the different ways in which we are connected with him, which is extraordinary and wonderful. There's so much to look forward to in Krishna consciousness. It's a very, very ecstatic process. So we should be enthusiastic. We have the greatest opportunity imaginable, and so much to look forward to. It's if we are thinking about these things, if we're conscious of it, it's easy to be very enthusiastic. We have the opportunity to benefit ourselves in the greatest way, and not only ourselves, but everyone connected with us, and not even those connected with us, but even those who we have no particular connection with that we are aware of, but actually every living entity benefits by our engagement in devotional service, either directly or indirectly. It's such a wonderful process that by even the simplest service, simplest act of devotional service is the highest welfare service to everyone everywhere. It's an extraordinary thing. The more we hear this message of Srimad Bhagavatam, all these truths are gradually revealed. We get an opportunity to understand more and more of the process of devotional service, and how extraordinary it is performing devotional service with an understanding, with full knowledge of what it actually entails, is especially wonderful. Otherwise, we can render service with different degrees of ignorance. We can do it mechanically, and the benefit there will still be great benefit, but not as great as if we can render service with full knowledge. So hearing is very important. Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam every day, very important function that we should never neglect. And it's wonderful to get an opportunity to hear from others that we don't usually hear from. It broadens our perspective and enhances our understanding tremendously. So I'm really happy to get an opportunity to hear from you. I want to hear from everybody. Everyone has something to contribute. We each have our own unique perspective on things. And each of us, we are facing our own unique challenges, learning how to contend with the different sorts of challenges that present themselves in our life. Oh, their lordships have appeared.
Yes, thank you so
Jai,
much. Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Sri Shri Radha Damodar, Hare Krishna.